I'm pretty sure this jacket is heavier than me. But does it make me feel more like Maeve, or... Hey, what's up? I'm Allie, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up. Now, I did read 8 things in January, and I will say there's going to be one thing that I am not mentioning because eventually it will be in a wrap-up video all its own. It's a project that I'm working on that apparently is going to take me all year to read 5 books. January was kind of a so-so month for me. I felt like I really started off the year bad. When don't I? Every year it feels like I start out the year with a 2-star read, so why would 2020 be any different? It wasn't. Honestly, I was putting this video off for so long because I was hoping to finish one more book and pretend like I finished it in January, but we've reached the date now where I feel like I morally can't do that. It's definitely a February read by now. Ma'am, do not start this! We talked about this! So, let's go ahead and get into this wrap-up of the 7 other things I can tell you guys about. First read of the year that I had was Pretty Revenge, and this was something that I just kind of came across on Scribd. I needed an audiobook to listen to, so I was like, let's give this a try. It feels like a lifetime since I've read this book, honestly, and it seemed pretty intriguing. Getting revenge, okay. This is about a woman who, whenever she was younger, she really looked up to the neighbor's daughter or something along the lines of that. And then one day, the neighbor's daughter comes over and, like, steals her grandma's money or something. And then whenever she gets older, she has, like, sworn revenge after her grandma has passed. And she blames this other woman for killing her grandma. Then on top of that, this other woman you find out has changed her name. She's moved to New York City, and she's got a big booming like wedding planning business. So the other one comes in, pretends to be a good secretary, and then just decides to just sabotage everything. That's it. That was the whole story right there, and let me tell you, it did not get any more interesting. It was really boring for being about revenge. And it felt really cheesy because the end, everything was like so neat and tidy, and like no feelings were really all that hurt. And like the one woman was just like, okay, yeah, that happened. We can move on with our lives now. And I was just like, I was expecting a little more suspense, maybe a little more mystery, a little bit of something in there, but no, it's literally, that's it. She goes and works for this woman, she gets her revenge, and they all live happily ever after. It's not even good revenge. Like, I was so disappointed in this. Looking at it now, it probably didn't even deserve 2 stars, except for it, like, kept me going just because I was like, certainly something else has to happen. It doesn't, friends. It doesn't. It was a 2-star. I really have nothing else to give you guys other than the fact that it was just a really boring read, and nothing exciting really happens. Next, moving on to 4 Dead Queens. This was a backlist arc for me. I had an arc of this. I also have a finished copy of this, and so I decided to put this in my arc vlog as an arc that I had that I needed to read, but it was a backlist. I explain it better in my art vlog that is coming. I swear, it's a little late for reasons. Go from the perspective of 5 different people. So you have the queen's point of views, but then you also follow Carolee, who is kind of like, she wants to be a thug kind of deal. She wants to be a thief. She works for like this slummy dude kind of deal. He's supposedly banned from the palace and all this other stuff because of all the terrible things that he has done. And she works for him, and one day she intercepts a package that was for him or from him or something along the lines of that, and she sees the queen's dying. So she ends up teaming up with someone from the palace, essentially. He's supposed to not be able to lie, and he's a very good boy kind of deal. They're very opposites. It's about them trying to get to the palace, and then you also have the point of view of the queens, and you get kind of a little bit about like how these queendoms work, and that they're not supposed to like love anyone, they can't be in relationships, they can't visit their hometowns ever again, and then you witness their deaths. So you get the point of views of their deaths and how that impacts them and their secrets that they have and things like that, and that's just the first half. So then the second half does like a whole flippity-floppity switcheroo type thing. It puts you on your ass like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Except for I saw it coming the whole time, so I don't know. I guess it was supposed to be a plot twist, but like, I felt it. I felt it coming from like page 5. I knew the characters were very generic. There wasn't really anything new or interesting about them. I felt like I never really got to know them on a deeper level. They were just kind of there and making the storyline go along, and that was it. So I didn't really care about the outcome of most of the things. And honestly, the queens were way more fascinating than Carolee, and she was supposed to be like the star of this book, but I really enjoyed the queens, and I kind of wish the first part just would have been about the queens, because they were more interesting than anything else that was happening. And then you don't really get into the more interesting part over halfway through, and then from there it's just like so many things are all over the place, and it just kind of comes out of left field, and just some weird stuff's happening, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like these things were invented right here and right now in order to make the storyline work. Like, there was multiple things where I was like, there were no hints to that this thing existed beforehand. Like, it's just so many things that were just conveniently done, and I just ended up not really liking it. It was a pretty meh storyline for me. The characters were pretty meh. Like, it just overall just didn't pique my interest quite like I thought it would. I mean, we're talking about 4 Dead Queens here. The ending was pretty good. That was probably the only interesting part of it, but I don't want to read a whole book just to read the ending and that's the only thing worth it. Like, no. I ended up giving this a 2.5. It was okay. If you thought things got better, they didn't, because then I read the arrangement. And I thought this was going to be so saucy, because this is about a girl who moves to New York City, and in order to help be stable and in order to stay away from her crazy ex-boyfriend, she decides to get a sugar daddy. However, she ends up becoming obsessed with her sugar daddy and finding out that he has a family, and basically things go a little awry from there. This was, I don't know, it was like someone plotted this out and they put all the big main plot points that were supposed to happen and they put those in, but they didn't put any like filler information in between. It was just like thing after thing after thing without getting enough of the information in between to make it like a full-fledged story. And I really didn't like our main character. I personally didn't find her very likable, mostly because immediately she's kind of rude to her roommates. Then she is talking about this crazy ex-boyfriend. However, I feel like he was just thrown in to cause some other stir in the storyline because nothing really comes of it. And then there's also, finds out about her friend has a sugar daddy, and she judges this girl so hard, but she's like, I'm not very judgy, but also that's disgusting. And it was just very, I didn't really like that, especially because then she ends up doing it, but the whole time she's very like, this is icky, this is gross. And if it's not for you, it's not for you, then don't do it. But other people like that stuff. So why you gotta be like that? Meet the sugar daddy, and he's just so cocky and full of himself that I just could not stand it. I was like, oh my god. And she just like immediately is in love with him because he treats her nice at their first dinner. Things immediately, like, there's like a few chapters where it's just like things progress so quickly and then things spiral out of control. And again, it was just thing after thing after thing after thing without really leading us to it. It was just happening. And then I really didn't like her anymore because then she does some questionable things to the family overall. And the only really interesting part about this one was also the ending. So there's a little bit of a plot twist at the end that I will say got me, and I enjoyed it and I liked it. Some unlawful things happening here at the end, and I really liked the ending, and I thought the ending was fleshed out, and I don't understand why the ending was so fleshed out, and like these little details were brought to light and stuff. And I get it, like a lot of mysteries do that at the end. They, you know, tell you the little things that you were supposed to be looking for, but I just didn't feel like those things were peppered enough throughout the storyline to begin with to really care. And while I like the ending, the overall lead up to the ending was just not well done in my opinion. It just was too many things happening, and it just was throwing things in there that didn't really need to be there. I legitimately forgot at one point that I was even reading this for like a whole week and a half, and then I was like, oh yeah, I had started that. It wasn't developed enough for me to make it like a full, well-rounded story, and I ended up giving this 2 stars. Great beginning. You know how rare it is for me to give 2 stars and then to have like 3 in a row? Frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. Throw it back to what I do best when I'm in a reading slump and things are disappointing me and I gotta return to a favorite. So I ended up reading a Lumberjanes. It was the new one. I think it was volume 13. This is not the volume. This is just one that I own. But volume 13 was very cute. If you guys don't know, this is about an all-girls camp. And this group of friends, best friends forever, keep running into like mystical mayhem around the camp. Their adventures are so much fun. It's a middle grade series. I love... The artwork changes in it from time to time, but I just love these characters so much. There's all kinds of diversity in it, all kinds of different things happening. 13 I gave a 4.5. I don't remember why I didn't give it a full 5 stars. Probably just something like it just wasn't as entertaining as the ones before or something along the lines of that. But I always enjoy these. So this was the best way to get out of a slump, was to return to this. Continuing on with that, I picked up another graphic novel and I decided to pick up Spectacle Volume 1. Now this is Volume 2 because I've already returned to Volume 1. But Spectacle is, I gotta say, it might be a new favorite of mine. This is a murder mystery graphic novel, and it's got supernatural aspects, and I'm loving it. This is about twin sisters who work for a moving carnival kind of deal, traveling carnival, and the one sister is murdered. So the fortune teller sister, who doesn't even believe in any of this stuff, ends up seeing her twin sister's ghost. And she's like, you have to help solve the murder, but I don't know who did it. There's also other things happening, weird things happening around the circus while all this is going on. So she's trying to deal with that, dealing with the emotions of having her sister gone, and then also trying to solve her sister's murder. And the first one left off on quite a cliffhanger, so I was very excited to pick up the second one. I gave the first one 5 stars because I'm just loving it. I saw some complaints about the artwork in this, but I low-key love this artwork, so I don't know. Haters gonna hate. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you people. Artwork is beautiful. And then finally my reading picked up because then I got an arc of The Shadows Between Us. Why do I keep like stepping away from the camera? So then I read The Shadows Between Us, which is one of my most highly anticipated releases of the year. It was a 5-star prediction for me, and I gotta say, it didn't disappoint. This is from the same author who did Daughter of the Pirate King as well as Warrior of the Wild, both books that I highly enjoyed, and honestly I think that her writing is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and this was so good. I love her female main characters. They're just intense and they're unapologetic and they know what they want, and I love that. Follows Alessandra, who, you know, she decides, she's like, I'm smarter than the rest of y'all, I'm better than the rest of y'all, I want to be the queen. So she's gonna woo the Shadow King. Now he's called the Shadow King because he's got these shadowy things that no one knows what they do, but there's these shadowy things that go around his body. So the Shadow King, he's very cold and distant, and like people are trying to get their daughters to be married to him for forever, and he's just like, nah. He's gonna woo him, she gonna marry him, and then she gonna kill his ass. Now, I gotta say, I went into this assuming that it was hate to love, but it's not. It's not really that way. Now, there is the bicker and the banter between the two, but it's not really a hate to love, but it is quite slow-paced. Frankie, just lay the fuck down. It is a fairly slower paced romance. However, the main character is very flirty. She's very upfront about it. She's like, I take what I want, and I do what I want, and I do whoever I want. And she is very flirty to all the other characters in this story as well, which is fine. I loved it. I love it. You get the banter with all kinds of people. But she knows what she wants in the end. But the only problem is that in order to kill him, she gotta save him, because everyone else trying to kill him, so she gotta save him, and she gonna kill him. And of course, you know, things happen. But I just thought that this was so good. I loved it. I love the storyline. This is very, if you guys like the fashion aspects of the beautiful, this has a good bit of that, and I love that her fashion sense is one of her passions, is passion for the fashion. So if you guys are interested in that, it's in here as well. It's not as detailed as the beautiful was, because I thought it got annoying. This was a 5 out of 5 for me. It just, oh my god, I love this so much. It is going to be out on like the 25th this month. I feel like that's right. That sounds right. keep your eyes peeled, my friends. Okay, so then the last thing that I have for you guys was also an ARC, but I ended up getting a finished copy too, and that is What Kind of Girl. This is out now, so you are able to get it now. I love this cover. I love the simplicity of it. I'm also a lipstick junkie, so y'all don't even want to see my lipstick collection. The synopsis of this is basically this girl who is dating the most popular dude at school. He's so nice. Everyone loves him. He's so great at everything that he does. She comes into school with a black eye and says it was her boyfriend, and people are like, I don't know if I believe her. Now, while that's the main synopsis, I honestly think it's a little misleading because that's only a little bit of this story. While that's the main topic of this story, there's so many other things going on. Seems like it is written in multiple perspectives, and I gotta say the main reason this isn't like a full 5-star for me is the writing style just really got to me for some reason. Like, it kept taking me out of the book. It is written from the perspective of the popular girl, the girlfriend, the bulimic, and the burnout, and then it switches in part 2 to the activist, the cool girl, the anxious girl, and the best friend. So the first part, and I think this is supposed to be some sort of plot device, but I just felt like it could have been effective if you went in knowing that they are the same person. So the first part is one person, the second part is another person. I thought that that was a great way of describing What Kind of Girl. Like, it's a good take on what kind of girl does this and what kind of girl does this. And I feel like there are those cliches and those stereotypes of the burnout girl and the popular girl, and they're such different people in these kind of contexts, but whenever you put them like this, and it shows that those things can be one person, multiple things can be one person, someone can be all these things, someone can have all these issues, there isn't just one issue. And what kind of girl? Any kind of girl. So I thought it was a really, really good take on that, but the writing just really took me out of it because I was thinking we were from different points of views, and then we got to the second part and I realized it was one point of view, and it just really, my mind was like, cannot compute, what is happening, so that really confused me, and honestly I think it's better if you go in knowing that the perspectives in chapter 1 or in part 1 are one perspective, part 2 is one perspective, and then part 3 is from switching between their perspectives. And I think it just, I might be spoiling it for you, but I think it's just easier to go in knowing that. I will say too that I felt a little bit like this was trying to handle too much. We do have the bulimic, we got a girl who cuts herself, we have the assault that's going on, the burnout, there's talks about college and activism and all kinds of other things going on that I felt like we didn't really get to focus on. Like we have the main thing going on and things happen with that, but I felt like we didn't get to focus enough on these other things that were happening to develop them in a overall good way. Like, these things are handled with, but I don't think fully, and I guess it's supposed to be open-ended, like, yes, you can seek help for these things, but, you know, it's up to you to figure out what the outcome of this is going to be, and I guess that's part of it, but I just felt like there was just too much going on at times, so I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I just really like the commentary on, like, these stereotypes and that they can be just one thing. They don't have to be all these different people, and, like, how we think people perceive things, and, like, what kind of girl, us, anyone, any girl, me, you, it doesn't matter. So I really enjoyed this, and again, you can get this now. So, I mean, I didn't enjoy it and like, oh, this is such a fun story, but, like, I enjoyed the overall, what it was trying to do, you know? Okay, so those are the books that I read in the January. I don't know why I just said that like that. That was terrible. I hope that you guys have liked this video. Let me know some of the things that you guys read in January or that you've already completed in February, since we're like halfway through the month and I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe to see future wrap-ups from me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one. Bye.